Well, everyone, look what just came. And yes everyone, the Hopium Copium video worked. It actually did work because holy shit, what was that fight? Because it was definitely the best episode, the best animated episode, the best directed episode in the entirety of One Punch Man Season 3 so far. I mean, like, again, the bar isn't that high, but it is definitely the best that we've seen so far. Even though some part of the episode looks a bit rough, it is definitely not perfect in any way. This is pretty much a tease of what they are actually capable of. Director Shinpei Nagai finally showing more of his capability as an action storyboarder, as an action director in this episode as well. There are tons of really ambitious scenes that some of it were managed to be executed really well. A lot of 3D CG layout that has been used as well, so I'll talk about that in a bit. Again, this episode is pretty much I want to prove myself even more type of an episode for the stuff that are working on the season. As an example, we got director Shinpei Nagai having his debut as the episode director of this episode as well. So you could definitely see how much of involvement he had for this episode. And unfortunately, I didn't really have the time to make a goodness video about this. So instead, I made a Hopium Copium video, which a lot of people came back and said, well, this aged really well. So yes, everyone, let's actually take a look at the stuff list first before we actually get into the episode content itself. So here it is, the brief stuff list of episode 8, since we can kind of see the entirety of the stuff list on the Keyframe website itself, so do check that website out if you want more information regarding the stuff list of One Punch Man in general. So here we got episode 8 stuff list, storyboarder Shinpei Nagai, assistant storyboarder Hirose Mitsuki as always. We got 3 episode director, Tetsuro Tanaka, Shinpei Nagai, and Miyuki Ishida. Some action animators such as Digvijay Pawar, Ken Kamal, Akari Ranzaki, obviously from JC Stuff Animation Department, Kenichiro Aoki and Naoki Ego. And for some key animators, not specifically action, we got Setsuko Uno, Eiji Tamari, VU, Muneki Okada, Wakana Yamaguchi, Aya Tsurada, and Ryo Gaito. And as for outsourcing, and basically these are the subcontracting studio of JC Stuff, we got Wuxi Animation, AAA, Lu Jiao Yinghua, Turing Animation Production, and as for 3D CG, we got Studio Moe finally coming back to help JC Stuff and director Shinpei Nagai in terms of the 3D CG stuff, in which I'm assuming the 3D CG layout that has been used in this episode, with Masahiro Hiraoka, also the season 2 CG director, coming back again. It's always good to see Studio Moe's CG in One Punch Man. First of all, I would like to mention the fact that this episode wasn't really a full-on in-house episode. There are still some of the department that was outsourced to the subcontracting studio of JC Stuff, such as Wuxi Animation Studio, AAA, and Revival. And obviously there are some key animators, some Korean names, Lee Seo-jin, Choi Se-yeon, Son Ji-hye, Chon Young-ho, Kang Hyo-jin, AAA, and obviously the other 3 subcontracting studio. But if we compare this to some few previous episodes, this episode isn't really a full-on outsourced episode. Other than some AD work being outsourced to the subcontracting studio, we still have some in-house names such as Shinya Hasegawa and Kazumi Ono, both working as the chief animation director. For this episode, there are tons of really good looking drawing, which again is really good for this episode. Shinya Hasegawa is, again, I would like to glaze him even more, one of the best JC Stuff chief animation director. But not to forget, we also have 3 other animation directors, Kane Komatsu, Shota Minami, and even Kenichiro Aoki as part of the animation director team, correcting the off-model cuts. Again, Aoki in this episode didn't really do much in terms of his cut, and apparently he did the dog mecha transforming scene. Again, pretty cool scene, but this is not his level. Come on Aoki, we all know you can do better. So maybe episode 9 cinema, you know? Coping is a quarter. After you watch this episode, will you still call me a coper? Well, I don't think so. But either way, this episode was really well done. Yes, there are some rough edges here and there, some really awkward cuts, like the transition, it's not really cohesive with one scene to another. I'm not sure why the hell that happened. In one moment, Flashy Flash is flying there, and in the next moment, suddenly he is standing. Like, what the hell? If I need to defend them, I'll probably call it, oh, it's probably for the Japanese ad, so they did that. Again, it's still a pretty weird and odd cut, and it didn't just happen once, it happened multiple times in this episode. But the other time is not really as noticeable as this one, but it's definitely one of the few weird and questionable moments in the episode itself. Either way, despite all of those questionable moments, there are still some of the moments in the episode where the cuts looks really good. Yes, the animation looks really good, and some people were questioning either this is CGI or not. And to be frank with you, and to be more straightforward with you, yes, it is CGI, but to be more specific, there is some CGI in the process of making it, but it's not entirely CGI because it is still 2D hand-drawn. So let me explain this in the simplest way. First of all, I'm pretty sure they're using this kind of 3D CG layout, so they have this 3D CG model of Flashy Flash and then the two other guys, so when he charges towards them, it is being animated in 3D CG. Yes, so it's a full-on 3D model charging towards the other two guys, and then right after they're done with those rigging animation, we got the key animators playing their part by drawing over the 3D CG layout. In this case, it helps One Punch Man a lot. But is it Quart? Is this not tracing? Or is it only One Punch Man that is doing it? It's not only One Punch Man that is doing it. Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man, both of this show with such a huge audience did this as well, and well, they did it very well, and same goes for One Punch Man Season 3. I would argue these few cuts are one of the best cuts, one of the best moving cuts, one of the best animated cuts in the actual season itself, and it is 2D hand drawn over the 3D CG layout. And to support this statement even more, we can actually take a look at the app's director, Tetsuro Tanaka. Yes, this person is also working alongside Miyuki Ishida and also director Shinpei Nagai as the app's director. And if we actually take a look at his previous work, this guy is pretty much got his expertise a lot more in terms of 3D CG. So what I've heard from some people are basically the fact that him and director Shinpei Nagai working closely with Studio Moe and the 3D CG director Masahiro Hiraoka to get all of this 3D CG layout stuff worked out, and then it actually did. And we got this masterpiece of an animation, and not gonna lie, I would prefer this 1,000 and miles over quote-unquote one frame man. So in this case, they did an incredible job at it, but it's really unfortunate that they didn't utilize this in the early episode of One Punch Man Season 3. Maybe there were some problem in terms of the modeling of it. I'm not entirely sure on this, but hey, he definitely got a better treatment compared to Garo vs Orochi. Either way, this episode was really well done. If I need to give a rating, it will probably reach 7 or even 8 out of 10. But obviously, I can't give it a too much of a high score because people will call me a quote-unquote glazer for a quote-unquote decent episode. So let's give it a 7 because of the dimming and the ghosting, because those aren't really needed. Like, oh my goodness. Fuck you, Pikachu. Okay, this episode is pretty much a proof for everyone that is doubting director Shinpei Nagai in terms of his expertise on the action part of the season, because this looks amazing and he's proven himself that he is capable of handling an action-packed episode. And yes, with that being said, thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next One Punch Man video. Goodbye.